Evening. Firstly, can I say congratulations to all of the families graduating from the Shepherd Centre tonight. Very few people outside of this room will ever understand just what a significant achievement this is and how much hard work and dedication it has taken for you to get here. But having been in the position that you are now in just 3 short years ago, we vividly remember and we offer our sincere congratulations to you all. In preparing for tonight, I looked over the notes I'd made before speaking at Jack's graduation in 2012. In that speech, I spoke about the struggles we'd gone through from the time of diagnosis, through the hearing aid and then implant stage, all to get to the point of being ready for graduation, ready for Jack to go off to mainstream school with his twin sister. In that speech, I expressed our gratitude to the Shepherd Centre for everything they had done for us to get us to that stage, and we continue to be very thankful for their ongoing support. But really, the overriding feeling from Jack's graduation for us was one of hope and excitement for the future, as Jack moved into the next phase of his education. But as the first day of school approached, that hope and excitement was very quickly replaced with worry and apprehension. We worried that we'd babied Jack too much, that he was too young at 4.5 to be going to school anyway, that he wouldn't fit in with the other kids because he was different, that he, as a child who wouldn't sit still for 5 minutes, wouldn't be able to sit still in class for 5 hours. Don't get me wrong, we had the exact same fears for his twin sister Grace, who was also starting school. But with Jack, it was more. All of the worries we'd ever had about his ability to manage his own devices, the implications for him if he lost them, and therefore the ability to communicate, our doubts about whether or not the teachers and the other school staff had enough knowledge to help him, combined with our general parental nervousness about our first children starting school, made for a very nerve-wracking experience. Within a few weeks, some of our fears were realised. On the first day of school, Jack wandered off into the teacher's car park during recess and had to be coaxed back into the playground. His teacher sheepishly approached me on the third day of school and informed me that Jack and his sister had been given lunchtime detention for their poor behaviour. The next week, Jack came home without one of his processors, and we spent a sleepless night listening to the rain pouring down, wondering if we would be able to get him a new processor, and why it didn't have to be the processor with the FM attached that he lost. But during these weeks, we realised some other things too. Like, by the end of the second week of school, Jack could read, and not just his name, but short books. That Jack, once told that he wasn't allowed to go in the car park, didn't go in the car park. That Jack's class could be taught to conduct line searches of football fields for cochlears, and that cochlear processors sometimes get attached to the underside of metal bubblers, and that this may be the best place for them to spend a rainy night, along with the FM. At our first parent-teacher night, we learnt that Jack is a very bright boy. He's social, outgoing, and that he fits in well with his peers. We learnt that his behaviour had improved greatly as he matured, with his age at the end of the year being the same as most of his classmates when they'd started kindergarten. We also learnt that the teacher thought it was best to separate Jack and Grace for the rest of their school careers because 2 against 1 wasn't really fair. Despite all of our fears and worries, we have been privileged to watch Jack really come into his own during his schooling so far. We've watched him excel academically and attended quite a few school assemblies to see him receive merit awards. He's learnt to play soccer and handball in the playground. He's competed in the athletics carnival and cross country, and is currently enjoying the school swimming program. He loves participating in drama and music. He was a star in the school Christmas concert when an off-the-cuff remark by the MC led to an improvised reaction by Jack that had everyone in stitches. We've taken him to birthday parties he's been invited to by the friends he's made at school. We've watched him play, dance, 10-pin bowl, and swim alongside his peers. We have listened to his enthusiastic, although sometimes very detailed and very long stories about who did what to who at recess or lunch, and how somehow that explains why he lost another school hat. Seriously, 5 hats in kindergarten alone. Now, as Jack gets ready to move out of stage 1 schooling and into primary school proper when he commences 3rd grade next year, we still have worries and fears. But they're more for the teachers. We have them for the teacher in kindergarten who Jack convinced to buy him lunch because we'd sent him to school with none, when in fact he'd actually eaten his lunch at recess, his recess at breakfast instead. We have them for the teacher in Year 1 that Jack developed a crush on, and who would let him stand next to her and hold his hand during assemblies because they were too loud and hurt his ears. Even though he never had a problem with any other sound anywhere else, and mapping didn't fix it. When we have them for the teacher in Year 2, who reassured me about 3 weeks into the school year that she was letting Jack lay down and rest or quietly read a book every afternoon rather than do schoolwork, because he had somehow convinced her that children with cochlear implants are particularly susceptible to listening fatigue, and that meant that after lunch he's pretty much finished for the day. I guess my point, and I do have one, is that you should take the feeling of pride and hope that you hold today, and in a few days or weeks or months, when those fears and worries creep in and you start to doubt, remember that you and your child have put in the hard work to get to this point. You still have the support around you, even after you leave here today. And if Jack and us and his poor teachers can survive the first few years of school, you will too. Thank you.